coming to you live today from Workday Rising in San Francisco. I'm Mike Stamback, Senior Product Marketing Director for Technology at Workday. I'm thrilled to be joined by Eddie Rafaele, Vice President of AI and ML at Workday. So, Eddie, I'm going to start with a simple question. Is this your first Rising?
Well, Mike, it's great to be here with you, and yes, this is my first Rising.
What do you think so far?
It's amazing. I think it's amazing to see the energy that the customers bring. It's amazing to see all of the work the team has been working on over the last few years come to fruition and get to be in the spotlight.
Any favorite moments?
It's hard to pick one. I think there were a lot of great announcements at the keynote, but really I think the interaction with the customers has been my favorite. Just hearing firsthand what they're thinking about with generative AI, what they're excited about, what the challenges are, and getting that interaction one-on-one. It's hard to replicate in a different manner.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually my 12th Rising.
Wow.
And I couldn't agree more. The energy at this Rising is higher than any of the other Risings I've ever been at. And we've just had so much innovation we've been able to announce, see the excitement and everybody having all these questions about and excitement about what we're doing. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
So given that excitement, we know that over the past several months, there's been this huge interest and hype increase around AI, specifically generative AI. And we just announced a whole lot of what we're doing in product, both now already and in the future around AI. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your team's been doing over the last almost decade in the AI space?
Well, you're on the right track. We've been working on this stuff for 10 years. We've got a custom-built machine learning platform that deals with moving data, being able to generate models, and so it's nothing new. Machine learning's a domain that's been around since the 60s, and the advent of generative AI has really dragged it into the spotlight. But as you might have heard this morning, today we serve nearly 8,000 models in production, over 50 million inference requests per day, and we ingest over 3.1 billion records into the machine learning platform every single day.
Wow, that's impressive. And is all that growth recent, or has it just been building and building over the last 10 years?
I think it's been building, but what we've seen now is just a level of excitement that wasn't there before, and I think the spotlight from tools like ChatGPT, getting out into the consumer space, have really put machine learning front and center. But I think it's important to emphasize that it's not a new technology. It's in the technology you use every day, whether it's the cell phone in your pocket, the weather forecast you consume every day, the applications that you use. Machine learning is infused into the technology that we use every single day, and we're really excited that some of the things that we've been working on at Workday are going to help you do with your work every day a little bit better.
So we recently did a survey with a lot of our executives, and 7 in 10 of the executives said that AI is going to be very transformative to their business. So what would you say are the most important considerations for business leaders when they're assessing how AI can help them?
It's a great question. I'd start with data, and what we've seen is that these deep learning models rely on a high volume of data, but also the quality of the data makes a big difference. And I think that's where we're very fortunate at Workday. Not only do we have this well-organized data set that's very well suited to machine learning, it's not just a snapshot, it's the data lineage. It's the history of the transactions that run your people and finance data that's really well suited to machine learning and structured inside of Workday. And I think that's a great question for you and your organizations to ask yourselves is, what's your data strategy? Do you have a good data strategy? Is your data ready for machine learning? Do you have a good objective? Being grounded in a goal that you're trying to achieve helps you make decisions as you go through that product development process. And what we've seen is that a proof of concept to a full-fledged product takes a long time. And there's a lot of decisions and nuance that goes into every step of that. And having a clear objective, good data, and then an approach that I think builds trust with your users, whether that means putting them in control of the generative output, finding ways to ground the model, using potentially smaller models. All of those are decisions that help bring real product to life when you're relying on generative AI.
So following that data conversation, you hear a lot about the large amounts of data that is required to run AI. So can you maybe dispel that myth a little bit? Is it the quality of data, or is it the quantity of data that's most important?
It's a little bit of both, and I think that you do need a substantial amount of data to build these foundational models, and we've seen them generalize really well. But when you rely on accuracy for predictions the quality of your data is hard to overstate. And very small amounts of very high quality data can make a dramatic difference in the quality of the output. At Workday, we're fortunate to have both a large amount of data that is very high quality, and I think that puts us in a really unique position to be able to move the needle, whether it's through tools like job descriptions, contract analysis, or personalized growth plans.
Excellent. So, and that's a different survey that we ran, 77% of the people that responded said that they would be more likely to adopt AI if their highest concerns were addressed. And the concerns were data privacy and security, questions around accountability, and errors in decision making. So, what would you say is what? Can you talk a little bit about our approach around how we're ensuring we're doing a secure and ethical approach to our implementation of AI?
Sure. I think that I would start with transparency. And at Workday, you can see exactly what data we're using to train models, what features that's powering. You can change your mind about participating in them at any time. There's also programmatic and cryptographic controls in place to deal with protecting our customers' data. We take the trust that customers put in us to manage their data very seriously. It's something that we think about every step of the development process. And then finally, I would think about the models that you're building. And can you start with a large model and then start to distill it down into smaller models that need less data? Can you segregate data by different features? And all of those approaches, it's a common approach in security, defense in depth, having a layered approach to product development and machine learning is a great model to replicate.
All right, and we actually get asked quite a bit about the data that we're actually using in our models. So can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah.
What data are we using? How are we using it?
We use a lot of different data sets. We've got data that Workday has been given by customers for general purpose use. We have data that we license. We have proprietary data that originates within Workday. And then of course, the data that you as a customer allow us to use to train models. And the majority of our models are tenanted. And what that means is that the data contributed is only being used to train models for you. We also rely on some foundational models to give us a starting point, and then we fine-tune them, which is essentially a process of modifying the weights to modify the behavior of a model using your specific data. So when we talk about something like job descriptions, we actually tune a model specifically for job descriptions, and that is augmented with not just generative AI, but traditional machine learning. So we layer in things like Skills Cloud to be able to target job descriptions specifically for an area of expertise that you might be looking for. And the entire goal there is to augment your ability. When you write a job description, you might want to specialize specific characteristics. We want to maximize the amount of time that you have to spend on that while handling the mundane portions of writing a job description or the portions that help you still find a well-rounded candidate.
You mentioned that it's data that our customers give us permission to use. What does that mean? What does that look like?
It means that you as a customer are in full control of your data, and it is your information, and we are stewards of that. And that means that you can select exactly what data you're contributing for machine learning features, and you can decide not to do that if you would like to do that.
Does that affect the results they might get out of the AI? Does it turn it off, or?
It can affect the results, yes. I think, like we were saying earlier, quality data drives quality predictions, and I think that's an opportunity cost or an evaluation that you as a customer can make, and it's an important part of Workday's strategy. Not only do we take that approach and put you as a user in control of the predictive outputs, but we put you as an organization in control of which portions of machine learning you want to utilize and which ones you may not be ready for yet.
All right, so switching gears just slightly. You've been talking about generative AI a little bit. We announced a lot of capabilities that we're putting in product over the next year. We get asked a lot ever since the hype came out. What are we doing to leverage generative AI inside Workday?
Well, we take this approach that we call a hybrid approach, which means that we build our own models internally. That means that we take foundational models, we tune them for specific purposes. We're able to build what we call domain-specific models, and then finally tenanted models, models trained only on your data. And then we also have partnerships for third-party large general-purpose models. We use primarily our own models due to the sensitive data that we're utilizing. you saw a lot of great announcements at the keynote. Job descriptions, contract analysis, development plans. And the generative aspect is a key portion there, but I think it's a much deeper product development approach that I would like to highlight. And when we look at development plans, for example, being able to attribute the context back to exactly what piece of text produced that generative output, grounding the model, building trust with users, and that holistic approach to product development. And it's about writing the job description, being able to localize it into different languages, summarize it for job postings, hire candidates quickly with tools like Candidate Skills Match, utilizing the onboarding process. That entire life cycle is what's built into Workday, and I think makes a significant difference in every aspect of people management.
And do you see anything we're doing with generative AI being fully automated? Or are we always going to keep the people in the loop that are actually making those decisions?
I think it's very firmly in the latter of keeping people in control. Generative AI, like ML tools in general, are probabilistic systems, and they do a great job, but they aren't a replacement for the expertise you have in your role at your organization, and it's really important for us to augment your ability. Whether you are an employee, a manager, an executive, an administrator, the entire goal is to help you make better decisions with better information faster than you could before.
I like that. I like that statement that it's not intended to replace your expertise that you have, because a lot of us have spent a lot of time building that expertise.
Exactly.
All right, so this year at Rising, it's been all about experiencing what the future of work is going to look like. What are your top predictions for how AI is going to transform the future of work?
That's a hard question. It's a space that is evolving so rapidly. Every day it feels like there's a massive new announcement in the world of generative AI. I think we're going to see a couple of things. A continued movement into smaller, more focused models that are able to utilize less data as the concern around the data inputs grows. And at the same time, a continued growth in these large general purpose models. The domain of deep learning is square in the hyper development phase, and I think that's due to a couple of key factors. One is just the large availability of data recently and the large availability of compute. That convergence of those two dimensions has really pushed deep learning, which is an old technology, right back into the spotlight. And so I think we're going to continue to see that pace. The microchip, for example, was founded in the 50s, and it took 50 years to get the iPhone in your pocket.
Right.
And I think we're going to continue to see that. My assumption is, or my opinion is that we are on the cusp of a new platform for computing with generative AI.
Interesting. Well, Eddie, I appreciate you coming on and answering all these questions. It's been great answers. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in today. Be sure to register for the Workday Rising digital experience if you haven't already, to watch all your favorite sessions on demand. Have a great Workday.
Thanks, Mike. Great to be here.